Hello language learners. There is no shortage of blog posts and videos talking about reasons to learn a language. And if you're here, you know that there's no bad reason to learn a language. But from my experience, a lot of them, they mostly say the same kind of things. You can improve your job prospects, you can become a polyglot, you can travel more authentically, you can be smarter because some sort of statistic or something involving bilingual children, things like that. And while those are all valid and great and awesome, I have a few other reasons that I think describe the benefits of learning a language a little bit more personally and authentically, and I want to share them with you in this video. So from my 10-ish years of learning languages, including going to schools, failing classes, going abroad, meeting people from all walks of life, talking to other language learners, I want to share with you 5 reasons that are really close to me and really personal to me that I found aren't really mentioned a whole lot. Things that I've noticed have happened to me and have changed in me that are because I learn languages. And I started learning languages because I think languages are awesome. Literally, that's it. I think the concept of being able to speak different languages is like crazy and like a superpower. And so these 5 things are actually completely unexpected and I love them to death. So let's get into it. The first thing is learning about history, and not in the way that you think. So one of my favorite things when I go abroad is to take walking tours and learn about all like little intricate cultural histories of every city and every country. But the thing that really excites me is when I come across different languages is when I can see the connection between these languages, and I can see the connection between grammatical patterns and different phrases and how words sound similar, different sounds, different like sentence structures, things like that. Because different languages, when they have similar patterns, it's not for no reason. This is why language families exist. I have a whole video about language families, linked below in the description. I really love to be able to see how language has developed together through historical events, mostly colonizing. I'm gonna be honest. Colonizers going between different countries has really heavily influenced language. And while that's incredibly unfortunate, obviously, it does make for some really fascinating connections and relationships between languages that you wouldn't expect. And I keep getting surprised all the time. It makes me really, really happy when I see these similarities between languages, and I can assume histories based on that, but then all it takes is a quick Google search to find out who colonized who, when, for how long, why. It really just expands my knowledge of history and the reason why the world looks the way it does, and the reason why some people, know different things about different countries and different histories and things like that. It really broadens your mind to the way the world works. And, these histories, they're not just in the past. These histories still affect people today. And I'm really sad to say that as, a white American, I'm not really aware of a whole lot of the stuff by upbringing. I've never really learned about these things. Important events that happened in the past because of colonizers, because of wars, because of famines, because of all sorts of events that really, really affect people heavily even today, that I would have never known otherwise, because I'm not gonna learn in school. And honestly, if I had learned in school, I probably just ignored it because I did not pay attention in school. But I get to learn about these things that, I get to learn more about the world around me and how these things have affected others in the past and even today. So I can be more open to others' experiences who have had different lifestyles and upbringing, and different events affect their families for centuries. My next point is similar to that, and that's the ability to learn from different perspectives. So as an American, I definitely have a tendency to think that I live in the only country in the world, and it's an unfortunate reality that a lot of Americans feel. That's just why it's so important to you need to travel, you need to see the world, you need to see something other than the United States. But as Americans, we tend to forget that we're not the only country in the world. And not only are there hundreds of other countries out there, but because we live in such a globalized world, things that Americans do, or American politicians do, or things that happen in the United States, they affect everybody around the world. And unfortunately, it's not entirely vice versa. It should be, but it's not. We are a global superpower, so we have a lot more effect on the world than most countries do. So while that is an unfortunate fact that we have a lot more power in our actions and our words than most other countries do, it does offer us the privilege to talk to people who live in other countries, who are from other countries, and ask them for their perspective, not only because it affects other people and affects other countries in different ways, but also because we get to ask them, how would these situations be responded to in your country, and how do other countries handle things? And we can learn from those other countries, we can learn from those other perspectives, we can learn from those other governments. I mean, we don't a lot of the time, but we absolutely should. And that's kind of one of the things that comes about with learning languages, because if you know Arabic, for example, if you can have conversations in fluent Arabic, and you can talk to somebody from the Middle East who speaks Arabic natively, you can have that conversation and really understand them, really talk to them in a way that makes sense, and nothing gets lost in translation, kind of thing. It's a superpower. It is. The third point, also related to that second and first point, is that when you start to learn languages, you become a member of the world, not just your family or your household. And by that I mean that you gain access to an amazing community that I never realized was out there. Language learning is not a very common hobby to have, but the community of language learners online is amazing. They're incredibly understanding and patient and open-minded and curious and interested and interesting. And because language learners come from all over the world, you really, like I said, get access to all those different perspectives and personalities and knowledge and all sorts of things, basically. And because other language learners are also as aware and open and patient and understanding as you are, because we learn languages, because we learn about different cultures and histories and different kinds of people, you can learn how to become a more welcoming human, and you can be welcomed at a more human level, regardless of race, creed, how much money you have in the bank, country, religion, any number of things. You really gain access to a community who not only accepts you, who you are as you are, but is also curious about who you are and as you are, and curious about what made you that way, and curious about how they can relate to you and how they can grow to be more understanding of who you are and what you are. Seriously, I swear, you will not find a community, as a whole, a community of people who are more welcoming, more understanding, more patient, more knowledgeable, more interesting than the community of language learners. My fourth point is related to one of the commonly addressed points, which is you become smarter, and then there's a whole bunch of statistics, I'm sure. I don't have statistics, but I do have specific examples of how learning languages makes you more intelligent. And this isn't some magic pill. This isn't just, all of a sudden, once you start learning how to speak Spanish, you automatically become more intelligent because you speak another language. That's not what I'm getting at with this point. I say all the time that, language learning isn't a destination, it's a journey. And this point is where that really comes to light. So when you learn languages, the journey of learning a language, it ain't just like an easy peasy upward slope to all of a sudden, bam, being fluent. That's not what learning a language is. Learning a language is learning how to face obstacles. Learning a language is problem solving. It's developing positive mindsets. It's having a healthier approach to your struggles and learning how to get past them, not just give up. It's having the flexibility to shift strategies when it's necessary, or just shifting your perspective. It's developing the fortitude to keep going even when it gets difficult. It's not just learning new words and understanding new sounds. Is a whole personal development thing going on. So when you learn how to do that, you become much better at that, and you become more aware of yourself and recognizing when you need to shift your perspective or change your strategies, and basically grow the strength to understand these obstacles and get past them. those skills, they bleed into the rest of your life. In my experience, the thing with intelligence isn't that some people are inherently more intelligent than others, but some people have more skills and some people have accomplished more things. Some people have kept going instead of given up. So when you learn how to learn a language, which includes all those kinds of personal development and personal growth, that bleeds into the rest of your life. So those skills that you learn, you can apply it to literally anything, and most people do. Most people do all of a sudden become more confident, learn how to approach obstacles, learn how to shift strategies, learn how to be more self-aware, more analytical. These things, they don't just stay in language learning, they become a part of your everyday life and part of everything that you try to accomplish. And that, my friends, is how language learning makes you smarter. And finally, last but not least, the last reason to learn a language for this video is that you learn more about yourself. So like I said, when you learn a language, you become more intelligent by learning how to strategize and how to see your learning and how to shift your perspective and how to be, have a better mindset. That all means learning about yourself. Learning about what makes you tick, learning about what excites you, what you're good at, what you don't like, what strategies you don't like and don't work for you and just suck. You learn more about your limits and how to, be aware of your energy levels, because that kind of stuff is really necessary for learning languages. If you're learning a language that your ancestors have spoken in the past or that your parents speak, you can learn a lot about the way that your family thinks, the way that you think, the way that your family has been treated, all kinds of things. It really becomes another method of self-exploration. Even if you don't really connect to language, at least at first, over time, you'll definitely find that you connect to the language a lot more. That is all 5 of my points. I assume you didn't need more reasons to learn a language. I think the point of this video is really for me to vent about how awesome language learning is and how powerful it is. Kind of my thing. In the comment section below, let me know your best reason to learn a language. What inspires you to keep going? What motivates you? And it can be something as simple or basic as you want to be a polyglot. It's totally valid. There's no right or wrong answer here. Otherwise, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell to be notified when I post a new video every Wednesday and Sunday. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time.